بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. We greet our listening audience with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. That is, peace be upon you and a blessed Ramadan. Today we're going to look at chapter 20, verse 81, and we're going to speak mainly about foods, the foods that we eat. This is a good time to talk about the foods since this is the month of Ramadan, the month of fasting. So we're going to follow the pattern that we have established during the month. We will take a look at the Tafsir Jalalain and the reflection and make our comments from the verse. So let us begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, with the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Merciful. Kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. Kulu is eat or partake in. Min tayyibati, from the purity, from those things that are excellent, good, pure, and pure. Ma, this ma here for the Arabic students will be the second term of the possessive case. Tayyibati ends in the kasra because it's the first term. So you say tayyibati ma, the purities of what? And then we say razaqnakum is the phrase that's describing ma. It becomes, and ma here is acting like a relative noun. Thus, razaqnakum becomes a relative phrase of ma. So we're saying, eat of the purities of whatever. It tells us what the whatever is. The whatever is razaqnakum, meaning we provided you. We provided you. Wala tatgaw. Wala tatgaw. Fihi. And do not be greedy. Do not be excessive, going overboard. Fihi, in it. So here, even though we're told to eat from that which is pure, we're not to be excessive in even in eating the purity. We're not to be greedy with it. Do not be so greedy. فَيَهِلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ غَضَبِي. Thus, it will become halal. Yahilla. This is the word for halal. It's yahilla, comes from yahilla, meaning that it will become permissible. Alaykum, and we're going to discuss this word here. Ghadabi, my wrath, my consequences, my repercussions will become halal upon you. It's a very beautiful verse, because if you notice, here it's using the word for halal But halal, if we do Qur'an, go to Qur'an now. This yahillu is defining tayyibat. Because we find it throughout the Qur'an, halal and tayyibat. Tayyibat, meaning that, or halal and tayyib, that's permissible, and then it's not wet. It doesn't say halal and wet tayyib, it says halal and tayyib. And tayyib purities is defining halal. But here, it's not that the food will become permissible, it's that Ghadabi becomes permissible, becomes the halal. So even if you become excessive in eating the pure things, then the Ghadabi, the wrath, becomes halal upon you. وَمَنْ يَحْلِلْ, and whoever, and yahlil. So yahlil is also from halal, permissible. Alayhi Ghadabi, so, and whoever, this also means to descend upon. I give the idea of to descend upon. My wrath descends upon him. فَقَدْ هَوَى, thus he would be destroyed. It will destroy. فَقَدْ هَوَى, we will say it destroys. It certainly destroys. But hawa here has a connotation also of desires, passions, inclinations. So your inclinations, your desires, your passions will destroy you. It destroys. That's the fire that destroys your own passions. So this is a verse to reflect upon this month, because this is the month that we have to restrain from bodily pleasures. Though we are to partake in the bodily pleasures, but not to be excessive. And as Americans, many of us are too excessive. So in the tafsir now, he says, Kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. This comes from the verse. Ay mun'amu. El-mun'am. Meaning el-mun'am is help defining a tayyibat. So it'll be el-mun'amah, because we're defining a tayyibat. And a tayyibat is, or we could say razaqnakum, because razaqna here is also defining tayyibat. Provisions. The provisions are pure. The purities in terms of provisions, and mun'am, that benefits. The benefits. The benefits here. The favors and benefits that are provided, that are pure. Alaykum, upon you. وَلَا تَتْغَوْا فِيهِ. So let me go back and let me just reiterate, because even though I'm doing this just about every day during the month of Ramadan, the presentations are separate. So for the students, what we're learning to do is learning how to read the Qur'an with comprehension. That's what we're learning in the Mali classes, the Muslim American Logic Institute, in the classes. So here you have the word mun'am. If we want to understand what we're saying here with tayyibat, because it's saying eat minat tayyibat. This is the word here. Now, to understand what tayyibat means, we have a rizqun. We take from razaqna. So that's rizqun. So these are provisions. We're speaking of provisions, and then mun'am, and benefits. Benefits, excellent benefits, like blessings. good, excellent benefits. So to comprehend, to gain the comprehension here, we have two words here that are in reference to tayyibat. Then we can go to other verses with tayyibat and look at keywords to help define, give us the conceptual idea of tayyibat. So here we're learning to read Arabic by Arabic, Quranic Arabic. This is Quranic Arabic. This is not spoken Arabic. It's not the Arabic that the Arabs speak in the street. This is Quranic Arabic. And the Quran is a very unique book in the sense that it defines itself. The best dictionary for the Quran is the Quran itself, as we learn how to read it. Also, the students are learning how to read without the vowel marks, without vowel marks. The Quran itself, the Quranic text, has the vowel marks so that the reader will be sure not to make mistakes in pronunciation, and which will slightly shift the meaning of the words. So in the Quran, you will find the marks on it. But in writing, many of the writings in Arabic will not have the marks. Some say because many of the people who know Arabic, they know what the marks are. The other argument is that they should have put the marks even on the writings like this. They should have put marks. It would have been easier for the Arabs to become more literate. Many of the Arab-speaking Arabic countries, the people in the Arabic-speaking countries, are illiterate, especially outside of large cities. You'll find that people are illiterate. So putting the marks on all of the writings would have been very helpful in the Arabs being more literate, reading literature, being able to read literature. And I will agree that the marks should be put on, especially the marks for endings, because the marks you put on the end here, that's the difference in me saying Mun Amu or Mun Ahmed or Mun Ami. But since this is in reference to a tayyibat, then I would say Mun Ahmed because this is accusative. Mun Ami, pardon me. See how I'm making a mistake. I made a mistake by saying Mun Ahmed when it should be Mun Ami in reference to tayyibat, min tayyibati. So see how it's easy to make the mistake when you don't see the marks, which would affect the meaning or to comprehend what is being said. So the marks should have stayed on. Maybe as we began to learn Arabic and write Arabic, we will put the marks. We will put the vowel marks, especially the endings, because that's the grammar. The grammar that helps us understand the speech. Okay, let's continue. وَلَا تَدْغَوْا فِيهِ, and do not be excessive in it. بِأَنْ تَكْفُرُوا النِّعْمَةَ بِهِ, because you disbelieve the benefits that are in it. And so you become excessive, not knowing, not understanding, not having knowledge of the benefits that's in eating a little, like suhoor. Suhoor, for example. Suhoor is a meal that we take, but suhoor shouldn't be a large meal. I see some people showing how they go to IHOP and indulge in eating suhoor. They made takfuru, that meaning that their intelligence is covered. They're in darkness. That they may think that if I eat a lot for breakfast, if I eat a lot of food for suhoor, then that means suhoor is the meal that we take before the dawn, before Fajr. For the Muslims, before Fajr, or before dawn. And then we fast from food and drink all day. So the idea is that if we take a lot of food and at suhoor, it will carry us throughout the whole day. That's someone who's takfur, who doesn't believe in the benefits of eating just a little food. Suhoor is not supposed to be a lot. You're not supposed to have a full spread. Bacon, eggs, grits, and toast, and jellies, and just a big spread of breakfast, a breakfast food, what we call a breakfast food. Now the breakfast now is in the evening. When we break the fast, we should have a breakfast. But suhoor should be very small, just some fruit and water, something that's a small meal. But we don't believe. You don't believe that small meal will carry you the whole day. So we become excessive. Many of the disbelievers are excessive. فَيَهِلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ غَضَبِي. Thus, my wrath will become halal upon you, or permissible upon you, or lawful upon you. The law of nature, the wrath as part of the law of nature, it will come down upon you. We'll make these comments. So he says, Bikasri ha. There is the kasra here. He's talking about, this is for the Arabic students again. The kasra here, for Yahillu, he has the kasra. You can see the kasra here. Yajibu, or yajibat. Meaning that it's a must. It's a must. That my wrath is a must upon you. There's no other way of getting around. It's built into the nature that if you're excessive, you're going to hurt yourself. The wrath is coming down. That's what the kasra. But Dhamma, if it's with the Dhamma, Yahulla, if we put the Dhamma here, Yahulla, then that is to say, Yunzila, that my wrath will come down upon you, will descend down upon you. One is showing that it's a must, that it's escaped me the word. But it's a must. And here is that it comes down on you. Just a slight shift in the meaning from the kasra and the dhamma. So here in the Qur'an, he puts the kasra. But it could, by some, it could have been pronounced with the dhamma. We have to remember that the Qur'an was oral first before it was written. It was oral. And the believers, they memorized it. Muhammad the Prophet memorized it, and others memorized it. But because of the dialects that's in Mecca, the pronunciations could be slighted. So sometimes you have the tafsir. They will give us the idea that if it was pronounced Yahilla or Yahulla, then there's a little shift in the detailed meaning of what's being said and understood. But still, you don't lose the picture. The picture is not lost. When we read, we want to make pictures when you read. So you're still going to get the picture. The picture is just it's not going to be much shift in the picture. In the picture. وَمَنْ يَحْلِلْ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبِي, he explains with kasra lam, بِكَسْرِ lam, what dam we have. The lamb here. Here is the lamb. When it says Yahlil, in the same meaning, Yahlil or Yahlul. And it will be the same as we just discussed. So Kad Hawa, he said, is Sakata. Sakata is to be demolished. So it demolished Finad in the fire of your own passions. Hawa. So this Hawa gives us the connotation, as I said, of inclinations, our passions, desires, inclinations, sakata. So he, in context here now, he's saying it will be destroyed. It will destroy in the fire, and those are the fires. We want these fires to be cool, so we fast to cool these fires that have been so unruly in our own eating or partaking in foods, and what we're discussing today. So in the reflection, this is a reflection, as I have said, not a translation, but a reflection of the verse. And a reflection, I'm adding words. It's a little short of a comment on the verse. But the reflection is going to give meaning to the verse. With extra words, it's not a word-for-word translation. So take what is deemed permissible and lawful from that which the soul finds pure, delicious, and pleasant of what we have provided you in goods and services. So as you can see, I'm adding to it. But there's a method to this because of the words as they're being defined in Arabic. I'm taking those words and writing in the reflection of the words of the Arabic words from the Quranic text. So I'm not making it up. I'm just using a group of words instead of one word. And this group of words is taken from Arabic sources. I'm not showing the other Arabic source that I'm using right now, or the other couple of Arabic sources. And part of it you will see is coming from Jalalain, what we just read. So take what is deemed permissible and lawful from that which the soul finds pure, delicious, and pleasant of what we have provided you in goods and services. And do not show off, being in excessiveness and greed, or else my repercussions and consequences will become lawful upon you. And whoever my wrath descends upon. So you can see here, I'm using descends upon, and the other I used lawful, become lawful, for the word Yahillah. My wrath, and whoever my wrath descends upon, he will be abolished by his own passions and inclinations. So this is our reflection. So now, this morning we will take a look at the outline that we will be discussing, that I will keep up, is that partake in eating good foods, do not be excessive, cultivate and make good choices, necessities, comforts, and luxuries. We're going to discuss, and be conscious of what you eat. Luxuries can cause your downfall. Luxuries can cause your downfall. So, the first idea we get in this verse, as we have said, is that it is in reference to food, though it could be in reference to other properties. Whereas Allah repeatedly reminds us to eat what is halal, lawful, and pure, tayyib. But it can also apply to any properties, including intellectual properties. Of course, we know that halal food is not from swine, food from animals that have died due to adverse causes, and food over which Allah's name has not been pronounced. Tayyib, or pure foods, are those which have been grown and cultivated under excellent conditions. With meats are those foods that are from clean, well cared for animals free of sickness and disease. So not only in terms of pure foods that the animal has to be slaughtered properly, the animal has to be raised properly. With fruits and vegetables are those which are naturally grown, not genetically modified or processed with any harmful ingredients. These are the best foods, the good foods, pure foods. However, in this verse, Allah doesn't mention the word halal in relation to food, but cautions us not to be excessive in taking anything, material or spiritual, that is not good, pure, or excellent. Where Allah mentions halal in the Qur'an in terms of eating foods, He defines the word halal, as we have said, permissible, with the word tayyib, pure. It is defined. So halal doesn't just mean permissible, but it also has to be pure and good food, or else it's not halal. He says in this verse that if we become excessive in our eating of the purities, His wrath will become halal, permissible upon us, or descend upon us. Therefore, we see not only is it forbidden for us to eat what is unlawful, but also to go beyond the bounds in eating what is good and excellent for us. Muhammad the Prophet, the prayers and peace be upon him, said, when you eat, 1/3 of the stomach is for food, 1/3 is for drink, and 1/3 is for breathing. 1/3 of the stomach is for food, 1/3 is for drink, and 1/3 is for breathing. Do not be so excessive in your eating that you can't breathe. Gluttony is considered a deadly sin. Now, some of us, we have to apply what we're talking. Where do we see this at? Many times we see it with those who are breaking the fast. They eat and drink so much they can't breathe. Some eat and drink so much, and you're hurting yourself. You can't go and make salat. It becomes difficult. Salat becomes difficult for you to get up from the table and go make salat. We know it is difficult in this society we live in to keep the purification. There is plenty of food that is considered impure and corrupt foods, that it becomes very difficult to find good food at reasonable prices. Understand what we're saying? The poor person has a very difficult time eating good food. Not only from their financial situation, but many are poor in spirit and poor in knowledge, having a lack of knowledge and discipline in making good choices. The more knowledge that we have, the better choices we're able to make. Some of us make bad choices out of ignorance. We are to beseech Allah to assist us in removing all that is impure and harmful from ourselves. We are to beseech Him for internal cultivation, for external cultivation, for internal purification, and for external purification. We know we have the necessities of life, and we have access to the comforts of life, just living in America. We have excess, meaning that we have a way of getting what we need. And we have a way of getting those things. They are accessible to us, the comforts of life, which is a little more than the necessities. Even the poor people, the people that we call poor people, they have access to those things that we would consider comforts of life. Then we also have the luxuries of life. It is when we live in a society so full of luxury that it becomes difficult just to rely upon the pure necessities. Even when it comes to food, if we learn how to partake in a little food and don't be wasteful with food, then we can make better choices in eating pure foods. But because we live in this society that we have access to the luxuries, we go in the stores and there's so much food. These choices that we have refrigeration. We bring food home, put it in the refrigerator, store food up. This is all part of the luxuries of life. In some places, people don't have those luxuries. I know I was being told a story of some people who were in Africa. They were visiting Africa, and they were in the desert. They were going to Timbuktu. Timbuktu is more in a remote location, so you have to perhaps travel through the desert. And it came upon the Tuareg. The Tuareg is a group of people that roam the desert. They still roam the desert. And their Jeep was stuck in the sand. So the Tuaregs helped them get the Jeep they're driving, maybe a Tuareg, named after the people, Tuareg. But anyway, after helping them get the Jeep, they offered them some fruit. But they were giving them too much. They told them, no, they can't take that much food. The food will spoil before they can eat it. So they only took the amount that they could eat, what was necessary, not beyond that. Many times we store up food and we throw away food. We throw away too much food. American people. I used to work on the garbage truck. Sanitation, if you want to make it pretty. But it's a garbage truck. And the town that we would go in, it was a project area. And the project area, they had the heaviest cans. And they had more food. And the cans were not covered than any other area that we went in. When we went to the more upscale areas, the rich areas, they had very little garbage that they would always throw out. The cans were very light. But the poorest people, the cans were heavier. What I'm saying, because it's not the financial situation, it's the intellectual situation that caused them not to make good choices. And they waste. They become too wasteful in foods. There's other problems come along with that when you work in the truck, because now you're talking about rats and things that's in the can. You have to learn how to grab the can, two of you have to go grab the can and throw the can in case rats are in there, jump out. So you have to do it fast. But that's being wasteful. The American people are too wasteful. Now just go and break the fast, and you'll see how much food is wasted. Go by and just take a look in the can, and you'll see food being thrown away. Wasteful. And the food that's thrown away is not even good food. But if you spend a little extra dollar on getting pure food and eating good pure foods and only eating like you eat for sahur, then, and be less wasteful, then we will be more healthier. But the influences is too great for us. We have to work hard just to exist on that which is necessary. It becomes a major chore just to eat what's necessary. Muhammad the Prophet, the President, peace be upon him, said, what is small in amounts but sufficient is better than what is plentiful and delightful. Just to share with you, my doctor is always telling me that I can't just eat like I used to eat when I was younger. I can't take in food like I used to take in when I was younger. My body is not young anymore, and it can't process the food like it did when I was a young man. Your kidney is being overworked to function when you eat a lot of meat. This is what she's telling me. When you eat red meat, steaks, roast, etc., the kidney is being overworked. That when you get sick, the kidney is the first thing to fail. She says, the doctor says, we can't get you back to when you were young so your kidney can function like it once did. She's telling me, I'm telling you now to stop eating meats like this, which I don't eat a lot of meats in my foods, but she's telling me this. I'm overweight. I'm the typical overweight American. That's because I ride everywhere I go. I don't walk enough. I don't exercise enough. But we're talking about eating meats. She's saying that now you're not sick. So you come to me for checkups. And I'm telling you, stop eating the meats and overworking yourself. Don't eat so much that you're overworking your vital organs. Because when you get sick, she says, and you come to me, I can't help you. I can't make you young again. So stop eating so heavily. American people, stop eating so heavily. Stop making it work so much. Quit making your body work so much. Not only that, stop eating the foods that are not healthy for you in your older age. It will become halal for Allah's punishment, for Allah's rage to be upon you, on your body, on your health. Your own passion for food will be the thing that destroy you. That is the fire that you're putting yourself in, that we're putting ourselves in. You have become excessive in what is halal to eat, but also destructive. So be conscious of what you eat. We have a ritual or a custom. We could say a custom that from Muhammad the Prophet, and the American people have borrowed this from Muhammad the Prophet, that we eat with our right hand. Now, if you are a refined person, you would take your left hand and put it in your lap and eat with your right hand. You don't eat with both hands. You eat with one hand. But I know we'll find it difficult sometimes to eat with one hand. So let's look at it like this. You're only to put food in your mouth with your right hand. You're not to put food in your mouth with your left hand. But your left hand may help you break bread or prepare the food for the mouth. But when you go to take the food, partake in the food, the correct way to eat for the American, not just the Muslim, but the American, is to eat with the right hand. Now, if you're left-handed, you eat with the left hand. But the right hand, you're eating with the right hand. That's the sign. Because as we have discussed, the right side is the conscious, your conscious acts. And the left hand are those natural acts that you may not be conscious of. It's assisting in the conscious act. So you're eating, you should be conscious of what you eat. To the extent, especially in our older age, what is this food? How is this food going to affect my body? What are the ni'mah? What are the blessings in the food? See, we bless the food. We say, bless the food. But the food has already been blessed. And there are blessings in the food. What is the blessing that's in this food? If I eat a tomato, what's in the tomato that's going to affect my body? What is the blessing in it? So we have people now who studying foods. And they're studying not only the nutritional value of the food, but how the food is going to affect you. What is it good for? And we should have, just as we have conferences. Every year, we have a conference dealing with intellectual properties, dealing with Quranic conferences in terms of the intellectual food that we eat from the Qur'an. We should have an annual health conference that helps inform us and educate us on the proper foods and the proper care we should have of our bodies. They both should be very important for us. The health conference and the Quranic conference. We should have one every year so we can learn how to make better choices in our life in terms of how we to eat and exercise and manage ourselves intellectually, spiritually, as well as physically. Yes. So, I don't want to name names, but if we don't start having the health, those who are interested in health and propagating good health, if they don't do a conference, then perhaps Mali will do the conference and invite those people who are who have taken upon the interest of educating us in health will come and be the main participants of the conference. And when we have the Quranic conference, those who have the interest, have taken on the interest of learning and educating themselves from Qur'an will be the main presenters at the Quranic conference. Because it's very important. Both are very important. Yes. I have to always say to my good brother, he knows who he is. He's listening. Don't come to the Quranic conference. You can come to the Quranic conference speaking about health, but it's not a health conference. But speak about health as He's speaking from the Qur'an. And he comes every year, supports us every year. So we want to support him. So I'm encouraging him to have a health conference. Yes. And our vendors should be those who are in the business of health, having on their vending tables those things that we need. And now our job will be, or your job will be, because I've been told I'm always telling people what to do, and that's me, so I guess that's me. Allah made me like this. So your job will be, this is your job, to bring us information on what is the best, what the necessities, in terms of the pure necessities. And for the poor people, let's find a way to bring the price down. So the poor people in our community can afford the pure necessities of life. Not the comforts. That's a step up. We're not talking the comforts, and we certainly are not talking the luxury. So we don't want to indulge in the luxuries of life unless those luxuries are an investment for us that over a period of time, then our dollars are being utilized properly. But in terms of what we're talking of the subject now, in terms of food and health, our health, then what are the necessities, the pure necessities that we can partake in, and find a way to bring the price down. Don't market good health and raise the price because of the demand you have created for health, for having good health. So you raise the price. No, don't follow the ways of Satan. Find ways that can make it affordable. Then we have a choice now. The choice is with intelligence that you get from the Quranic conference. Can you use that intelligence to make a decision between purchasing that or partaking in that which is a necessity at the same price, or pure necessity at the same price of a corrupt necessity? That you're choosing the corruption over purity, yet spending the same dollar. This is our job. This is the job I'm giving you to the health, those who are health conscious. They have those interests to educate us. So we're calling on you to begin having a health conference. And it can be done just like we do the Mali conference. And with the Mali conference, financially, so far, after 10 years, we have not found ourselves burdened financially in the methods that we used to do it. This is the application. This is the fiqh. We're reading from Qur'an. There's one verse. Now this is the fiqh. It's called in Arabic fiqh. Fiqh. The application, the everyday application of the Qur'an. Let us continue. We know of countries that have reached a point of development and luxury. These are countries in the history of Muslims that have brought the whole country down once they reached a level of living in luxury. For example, not only Muslim countries, other countries also, when they reach a level of luxuries, comforts and luxuries. But Spain, that has Muslim rule for perhaps 600 to 800 years, whereas America is just a little over 200 years. Very young. America is a very young country compared to other countries. The people of Spain fell into the life of comforts and luxuries, thus corruption set in, taking its toll on the leadership long before they eventually lost their land to others. before they lost the rule to others. The luxuries. Living in comfort and luxuries is what causes people to fall. For example, I have time here. For example, when we're building, when people are establishing themselves and building, you have the first group. The first group, they're the group that gathers all of the material that's needed to build the house. We're going to build this house. So they're gathering the material to build the house, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was gathered in all the material to build the house. And his son watched him gathering the material to build the house. But he didn't build the house. His son comes along after him, though watching him gather the materials, his son builds the house. Now, as he's building the house, his son is watching him build the house. But his son did not see his grandfather gather the materials. He only sees his father building the house. So he begins to put furniture in the house. And his son is watching him put the furniture in the house. But he didn't see the one who gathered the materials for the house. He didn't see the one building the house. All he saw was his father furnishing the house. So he comes along after his father and lives in the house. His son sees him living in the house, but he didn't see anyone. He didn't see the one furnishing the house. He didn't see the one building the house. He didn't see the one gathering the materials for the house. All he saw was his father living in the house. That's the fourth generation. The one gathered the materials, the one built the house, the one furnished the house, now the one living in the house. After that, the house begins to go down because that one son, he thinks that he was just born into that situation. He didn't see what it took to get to that situation, and he just began to live in the luxuries of the house. And not really have appreciation for the one who gathered the materials. The house begins to fall. Hope you understand. And this is what happens in many countries. Of all people, of all ethnic groups of this country, the African American as a group, especially the large amount of urban city groups, are less equipped to deal with the corruption in our societies that comes from the excess. We can't deal with the excess. It's too much on us. It's too much of an influence on us. We are more vulnerable to the bad influences. Even with foods. Even when you go to the corner store, convenience stores, we're too vulnerable to the bad influences of the marketeers. The food and other lifestyles that's offered to us, many of us can't get around it. We are more vulnerable to corruption than any other racial group that I can think of. And it's particularly this inner city group, or even where you find poor people in America. They become vulnerable, the poor people. That is because we really have not found a home for decent cultural appetites. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I thank you for joining us this morning, and I always hope and pray that you have benefit from our presentation. Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.